So we're here with Jamie Turner, who's the officially the high performance coach of Team Canada, and but also coach to a lot of Australia's top ITU athletes, as well as athletes from Hungary, Ireland, and you base yourself here in Wollongong over the summer months. What do you like about Wollongong?
Thanks, Carl. So yeah, this is the home of the group, the self-titled group, the Wollongong Wizards. Yeah, I've spent a fair bit of time in Wollongong over the years. I went to university here at this campus, actually, at the University of Wollongong. And for me, years ago, looking to establish a daily environment, Wollongong ticks a lot of boxes in terms of its coastal lifestyle. It's close to the airport for us here, close to Sydney Airport being an hour away. Short-term accommodations readily available. It's quite a cheap cost of living here. Rent's quite inexpensive, and as I say, easy to come in and come out. So atypically we're based here from around Australia Day. We love to come home and do the Australia Day Aquathon that's on in Wollongong. So after Falls Creek, that we go do before and after Christmas, we make an effort to be back here on Australia Day, and we're here pretty much last couple of years till the middle of May, really just preceding the race that's up in Yokohama.
And next weekend we've got the second of the World Triathlon Series in South Africa, and you've got a number of athletes going over there.
Yeah, sure. So first time we've ventured to Africa for a WTS race, or a WS race. Cape Town looks like it's going to put on a good event for us down on the waterfront there, the V&A waterfront. So travelling over, Aaron Royal and Ryan Bailey will head up the Australian men's contingent. Charlotte McShane also will head over representing Australia, and as well in the group behind me, Gwen Jorgensen is the other athlete that I coach that will be going there, along with the Canadians of Andrew McCartney and Sarah Ann Brolt.
Yeah. And you mentioned Sarah Ann Brolt just then. She had a great race in Auckland the other week and probably surprised a few people.
Yeah, perhaps did create some surprises. Auckland's one of these unique courses where I think Ryan Bailey was quoted in his race report saying, if you've done the work, you'll get good fortune. If you haven't done the work, you better rely on good luck. And Sarah's been able to amass some good work. She's been returning from a little bit of an injury way back in September. And Sarah's certainly a very strong athlete, and that race really suited her strengths, and it also suited the preparation that we've been able to do. She had a slow build-up, and she had a race in Mooloolaba. She won the Conti Cup there, the lesser race, certainly not the World Cup, which gave us an indication that she was ready to run for 10Ks, and obviously her bike strength came to the fore. And as well, I think Sarah's been able to invest in the basics and the processes of swimming, and she's improved the swimming a lot, and she's a lot more confident now. She knows about how to go about her business in the swim.
And congratulations also on Ryan Bailey and Aaron Royal in the Australian Commonwealth Games team, and I've no doubt that we'll probably see some of the Canadians get into their Commonwealth Games team as well, so you'll end up with quite a few athletes racing in Glasgow this year.
Yeah, that's right. Fortunately we've got a great training base in Vitoria-Gasteiz in the Basque Country, and that'll enable the individuals within our group to prepare well. And yeah, certainly it's great to have Aaron on the team. Aaron earned a spot with a performance in London, and I'm sure that Ryan's performances, you look at Ryan's result sheet, and there's 4 top 10s there at World Series races. So I think Ryan certainly earned a spot by right of performance, which is fantastic, because that's what we want athletes to do. Put selection into a case where the athletes force their way to be selected because of performance, and I think Ryan's done that well. And for the Canadians, I'm sure a couple of the aforementioned girls that you spoke with have put some good results on the board, and their final selection will come in after Cape Town.
This team environment you've got down here, it's got to be probably one of the best sort of ITU level team environments in the world. I can't think of one that would be more. I mean, Darren Smith has a great squad as well, but you know, how much does this environment push these athletes?
I guess it's up for them to dictate, you know, how we operate. You use the word team. For me, we're not a team, we're a group of individuals, and my job is to support the individuals within the group. Triathlon's a unique sport. You know, one man's success is another man's failure. So whilst they do hunt together or operate together and get the most out of themselves, it's certainly for the benefit of the individual. We never seek or praise, or we're not after team glory per se. The fact that the group has an identity is something they've created, certainly not something I've created, and I'm glad that their identity represents them as individual athletes rather than as a group that has any influence over what I do. So I'm happy that it's all centred around them. And yeah, my job as a coach is to set some ethos. I set some standards. We set the ways we go about our business. That's dictated to us by our competition and by the world. Perhaps it's got some essence of what I'm after as well, and the athletes come on board, and if they respect those ideals, they certainly work strongly within them, and that gives them the opportunity to get the most out of themselves as individuals.
And will we see all of these athletes with you in Spain?
Yeah, everyone basically here. There's a couple of visitors here that I don't coach. These are just athletes that are here from Europe, just here for some nice weather. They have their own coaches, or they have people that look after them, and they just come in and value add to our environment. But essentially, certainly in Vitoria-Gasteiz in the Basque Country, we'll see the 8 Australians, the 4 Canadians, and also Gwen that are our core group, and we all migrate there either after Chengdu World Cup or certainly after Yokohama. We'll have 2 groups arriving in there.
Yeah. And how are some of the younger Australians that you coach coming along? You know, we've got Grace Musgrove, Tamsin, Moana Veal, Natalie Van Coevorden.
Yeah, and also young Jake to add there as well.
Jake Bertwissel,
yep. As Hanso calls him, the X Factor. Yeah, certainly these, you know, Jake's the youngest one, and he's certainly the youngest male on board. Jake's moved up here from Launceston, and I think he's really enjoyed the opportunity to work with some of his senior peers, some people that I'm sure that he wants to beat and knock off in races. And Jake came up here and won the aquathon, which is like our local Olympics, so that was good for Jake to stamp his authority early. Jake's got some great ability, and I'm sure he'll develop this year and learn a lot, both training with the group and also venturing into Europe for the first year to race and to earn his stripes per se, racing French Grand Prix, Continental Cups, and he'll do a couple of World Cups in there as well. But obviously Jake's focus is development, and to, as a byproduct of development and learning process, perform well as a junior at World Championships. And the girls, as you mentioned, their core business is World Cup performances. Tamsin got her first podium last year. Natalie got her first podium last year. Grace is yet to get her first podium, so that's their real core business, is really demonstrating performance at Conti and World Cup level events. And they join that, or the adjunct for them is their performances in French Grand Prix as well. So that's their business. The older girls, obviously, it's WTS races. For those aforementioned younger girls, they got to cut their teeth and deliver performance in the World Cup events.
And how do these French Grand Prix races, how do they fit into your training? Is this just short, sharp, fast hit-outs for them?
Yeah, look, the French Grand Prix are brutal. The German Grand Prix, the athletes will talk about how they can turn up to a German Grand Prix fatigued from training and still perform. The French Grand Prix, they're ruthless, they're brutal. The quality of field is enormous, and you've got to be on your game. So, do they fit into training? Yeah, they do. You have to show them respect, otherwise the athletes just get walloped, and you have to back off a little bit for them to go up there and deliver good performance. And for the athlete as well, it gives them an opportunity to face quality of field competition, especially for the younger athletes. They really get a chance to go head to head with some of their competitors that they're not ready to go head to head with in a World Series race, but they can challenge them in a sprint race in the French Grand Prix. So it's a great development opportunity, and I'm glad that our athletes have the ability to tap into that. I think for me it's the best development opportunity for anybody in the world in triathlon.
Yeah, I think there seems to be a great tradition of Australian ITU athletes who over the years have gone and sort of, you know, not made their name for themselves in the French Grand Prix, but they've certainly learnt their trade over there.
Yeah, certainly, and I think in the older days when triathlon didn't receive the support that it now receives, thankfully, from the Australian Sports Commission, athletes used the Grand Prix as a vehicle for having a place to live, having a place to train, having a centralised training environment. And, you know, some of our great athletes of the past, like Brad Kellerfeld and Simon Thompson, have all used that as a platform for their later success. Fortunately now our athletes are well supported in Australia, and we can provide them with a quality daily performance environment in Europe, but they still use the French Grand Prix solely more for a competitive focus, and also it gives them the ability to generate some income as well for themselves, which is important because we want them to make quality decisions and look after themselves, and we'd hate to see our systemic athletes being pigs in the trough, relying on other people to support them when they've got the opportunity to support themselves through performances and and French Grand Prix.
And on Vitoria in Spain, where you base yourself over the Australian winter, why do you choose Vitoria?
So having a base in the Basque Country, something that we looked at maybe in about 2008. I had a couple of Spanish-speaking athletes working with me at the time. Jonathan Hall had resided very close to Vitoria-Gasteiz. So Jono knew the environment. We had a great contact in Inigo Mujica. Inigo's a renowned physiologist who provides us with a level of support there. So we had some people on the ground. We looked at what was required to deliver performance in London and Rio, what type of environment would you need, and Vitoria ticked a lot of boxes for us. Great access to running trails, so the running is fantastic there. The cycling is safe, fantastic. We're well accepted in the community. We nurture hard to try and develop support from the people there. We have great access to facilities. There are great facilities there as well. And also we have good access to any services in terms of medical, etc. if we need those things. So for us it ticked a lot of boxes, and myself personally I really enjoy living in the Basque Country. I enjoy the community there, and I enjoy the support that they give us as a group.
Well, thanks very much, Jamie Turner, for having us this morning.
Thanks, Carl.